Our next speaker is the new congressman from the 8th District. We tried and tried and tried, and we finally did it. Rob Bresnahan is the new congressman from the 8th District in northeastern Pennsylvania. Like many of the speakers you've met today, he's not only a committed public servant, but he's actually from the private sector. It's amazing how we continue to find Republicans from the private sector, from people who have to balance budgets, hire people, live in the real world, and understand what it's like, the responsibility of signing the front of a check. He began his career in his family's electrical contracting business by sweeping the floors. Now, I never do that. I had to deliver newspapers when I first started. But from sweeping floors to eventually taking over a company with 150 employees, he understands the challenges of business, of meeting budgets, of living up to deadlines, and honoring the promise you make to your customers. Those are things that will serve him well as our new congressman, watching over dollars, meeting deadlines, and honoring your promises to the constituents. He has a history of working with business and labor, both in his district, and was a participant in many training programs with many of the building trades in northeastern Pennsylvania. Now in Congress, the Republicans got it right. Somebody with his background, he of course is on the Agriculture Committee, which is so vitally important to Pennsylvania, but bless their hearts, the Republicans and Congressman made sure that he serves on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee after a lifetime of experience there, and serves as a member of the House Committee on Small Business. The man who finally got rid of Matt Cartwright, our friend and proud member of the 8th District, Congressman Rob Bresnahan.
Thank you. All right, I think I'm going mobile here. They asked me if I wanted to, can you hear me? Am I good? Am I live? Uh-oh. I can't be pinned to a microphone. This is going to be terrible. Well, listen, thank you all for welcoming me here today. I never thought in 2 million years I would ever become a member of Congress. For someone that never ran for so much as dog catcher before, it is quite the remarkable, humbling, powerful opportunity to represent northeastern Pennsylvania, what I've called home my entire life. And like Guy so kindly said in the introduction, I was a heavy highway electrical contractor. My family business did traffic signals, intelligent transportation systems. And he said, he was talking about sweeping the floors. Actually, Derek and I were just sidebarring backstage. The real story was my grandfather would just like abandon me in a warehouse, give me a razor blade and remind me to strip the wire away from myself so I didn't impale myself with a razor blade or something. So I've been around the industry my entire life and always knew I was going to go back to the family business, but after 2008, we got totally clobbered by the financial downturn. And my grandmother was a nurse by trade and told me after I get a 4-year college degree from a university of her acceptance, she would then sell me the business. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. I ended up going to the University of Scranton while serving as a chief financial officer of the company, kind of like Congress with the power of the purse and economic control of responsibilities and being fiscally responsible. That's what we did. So we had about 50 employees. We worked in, at that time, we were just a smaller business, but every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, we were able to grow the company to about 400%. We ended up working in 23 different states doing power distribution after natural disasters, make-ready work for various different utility companies. All the while, I was able to reinvest into northeastern Pennsylvania through revitalization within different towns and boroughs within northeastern Pennsylvania. So I've always tried to be involved with trying to support the right candidates that would run for the right reasons. And it actually started in 2017 during a legislative fly-in. I went down with the National Electrical Contractors Association, and I met with a member of Congress, and this is back when we were trying to expand 529 programs. About utilizing them for trade organizations and different licensing applications. And Congress did do some good work there. We can go a lot farther, but I'll add that later on. And I remember meeting with a member of Congress, and He was just so genuinely uninterested with what we were talking about. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I could do that job. Well, how the tables have turned here. And that's really what started. I always tried to find the right people that, were fiscal conservative, that understood what was the best foot forward for our country. And like I said, I never ran for dog catcher before. So when I was first approached to consider doing this, I said, are you crazy? My current fiance, my girlfriend at the time, she was a local news reporter for WNEP, an ABC affiliate, who recently did not have her contract renewed because of me. So I'm just career kryptonite, and she's still planning on marrying me in August, which will just be, thank you. At least she wasn't allowed to do anything on the campaign with me. It was always separation of church and state. She would do her thing, I would do my thing, and they still chose not to. And those of you who are from northeastern Pennsylvania, you might know. There we are. You know who Chelsea is. Exactly. There's a little local thing you can call into the news station and give a piece of your mind of what you think about their reporting or their various different things. So, saying getting rid of Chelsea was a bad idea. But now she's able to be a part of this, and that both of our lives have been really driven by servant leadership, and that now it's really special that we get to do things together and really try to make a difference for our communities. So now, we ended up coming through one of the most expensive races in the United States. We beat a 12-year Cardinal appropriator in a $43 million race. Yes. Yeah, it was a wild ride. And we also, this was one of the 4 seats in the United States that ensured that the Republicans had a majority in the House of Representatives. So when we were on the campaign trail, we were talking like, listen, if we do not win this seat, Republicans will not have a majority in the United States House of Representatives. And looking back, that is exactly correct. That Hakeem Jeffries would be the Speaker of the House right now, and we would be governed by some of the lunacy that you see coming out of the progressive left. So now we get down to Congress and we win. You start from nothing. You have to build out your entire team. You have to build out your district team, which my team is here, and I would be absolutely nothing without Derek and Frankie from our political operations and our district team. But that's what we had to do. You eventually start on another campaign about what committees that you want to serve on. And I remember going in saying, well, I should be on transportation infrastructure, shouldn't I? I was a highway contractor. And luckily, I found my way into the T&I committee, which feels right at home. And actually, recently, I'm the vice chair of highway transit. I'm on the aviation subcommittee, FEMA, public buildings. I serve on agriculture. And then I volunteered to serve on a third committee, which was small business and capital access, which I think is Main Street America. It's the backbone of this country. And you see what's been happening through the SBA and some of the challenges about getting real dollars out to the end user who they were meant to actually help and impact. There's been a lot of frustration within just the way the federal government would operate, how banks would have to guarantee. So I think we're going to be doing a lot of really meaningful work on that committee, and that's what's really special. You go to Congress, and the first couple of weeks are like, you're, how the heck did I get here? Like, how am I one of 435 people in the United States? And trust me, every day that I'm on that House floor and I have to cast a vote, I have to pinch myself. Because it's an out-of-body experience that a kid from Butler Street in Wyoming ended up now in the United States House of Representatives. I never had any aspirations to run for anything. And by doing the right thing and putting your district first every single day, we ran on very simple concepts. We ran on making life affordable again. We ran on having safe communities and a border that's secure. And I don't think that's a very advanced formulary in order to achieve the goals in which we all clearly spoke on November 5th. But that's what we ultimately try to do every single day. And being able to serve on transportation and infrastructure, it does not matter if you make $7,000 a year or $7 billion a year. These critical infrastructure systems are pieces that we all traverse every single day. And when you start to think about infrastructure, it's not just your roads and your bridges. It's much more than that. It's your power distribution and your power generation. You need to be able to generate power, transmit power, and distribute power. You need to be able to have broadband communication, drinking water, levees. There's over $1 trillion in property that are protected by levees throughout the United States. you could talk about freight rail, you could talk about public parks, you could talk about airports. And I serve on the aviation subcommittee, so we've been, obviously, aviation, air travel has been a focal point of a lot of conversations right now. But we have serious upgrades that we need to make targeted into our air traffic control systems. And at any given moment, there's over 5,000 planes in the sky. There's 45,000 flights a day, moving almost 3 million people a day. And if we don't make those necessary infrastructure upgrades, everyone's going to be experiencing Thanksgiving-style delays every single day. So that's been really exciting. Obviously, we have to talk about our farmers and the need to advance a 5-year farm bill. Chairman G.T. Thompson is adamant about getting language working starting in June. And that's going to be, national food security is national security. There's no two ifs, ands, and buts about it. When I always consider agriculture the original A committee because, what our farmers go through and their ability to be able to produce food, it is challenging, whether it's crop insurance, the farm credit bureaus, and having access to capital. The prior speaker was talking about TCJA, and that's right where we are right now in this budget resolution process. The Senate just kicked back their instructions. The House is at $2 trillion. The Senate is at $4 billion. And I always try to use this example of when we're talking about the national debt being $36 trillion and interest is $1 trillion a year, which is more than our national defense budget. If you get a chair or like $100 bills and you stack them up, about the height of a chair would be $1 million in $100 bills, single stacked. $1 billion would be higher than the Empire State Building in that same capacity. $1 trillion, and that's just $1 trillion, is 2.5 times higher than where the International Space Station flies. Try to conceptualize that. Everybody knows how big a dollar bill is, but try to wrap your head around that. And we're $36 trillion in debt as a nation. And that's why Congress has been plagued and tasked sometimes with a responsibility and a mandate coming from President Trump. And I will say, for the most part, Republicans are unified. They are lockstep. We all know that we have an agenda. We have a mission that we need to accomplish. I think we all think about how to go about it in different ways. And remember the resolution process where we have the energy and commerce has $880 billion instruction, education workforce has $320 billion instruction, agriculture has $230 billion instructions. And now that's what we're meeting on. We're working within our respective committees, and trying to find different savings, getting rid of the waste, getting rid of the fraud, getting rid of abuse. There was a statistic that the Small Business Administration has $330 million, not even billion, but just million. And now we just talk in terms of trillions these days, but $330 million of unpaid SBA loans affiliated to Social Security numbers over the age of 115. And we picked the age 115 because the oldest human on the planet is 114. So if you think about just the level of inefficiencies, and I see it every single day, and I come from the private sector, and one of the most frustrating parts of my job is when I came from my private sector world, if I wanted to make a decision or make an executive decision that we're going to change the way we do something, if we're going to acquire a new piece of equipment, if we're going to expand a service, you have that final cut, you have that ability to deliver instantly. In Congress, you are one of 435, and consensus and working, with your peers is imperative, specifically with the amount of margins that we have inside of the House right now. I thought it would be really cool to talk about, as a freshman member of Congress, you're all given different responsibilities that you have to preside over the House floor. And I got selected like the third day we were in the House. And I've never been inside of on the House floor. I've never been in a legislative body. And they're like, Rob, you got to preside over the floor for 2 hours. I said, I don't even know what to do. And the parliamentarian reassured me that as long as I could read, I would be fine. And I didn't even tell my family this. And my grandmother is texting me now from while I'm sitting in the rostrum. And let me remind you, when you're sitting at the rostrum in the House floor, you have Moses right across where the TV is with a timer, and he's just looking at you. And he's just making sure you're making the right choices. But I got a text from my grandmother saying, you got promoted already? Like, you must be doing some really good work down there. So little does she know, I drew the short straw, and my alphabetical name starts with a B, so I was one of the first up to having to preside over the floor. But it reminds you, and it's a very humbling, humanizing moment when you realize what you're doing and what you're representing. And it's the focal point of every single thing we do. Every morning, we think about what's best for Northeastern Pennsylvania. That's what we put first. Those are the people that afforded me the opportunity to represent them. Those are the people that I'm accountable to. And those are the people that we answer to. The best part about being a member of Congress is no 2 days, no 20 minutes of your day are the same. And I'm like the definition of adult ADHD. So you could be talking to Lockheed Martin about a new specialized weapon system, and 20 minutes later, you're meeting with sugar beet farmers who are literally fighting for their very existence because they can't afford fertilizer. They're dealing with succession planning and transitioning their family farm from one generation to the next. It is the absolute honor and privilege of a lifetime to be able to represent this country, Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me here today, and thank you. God bless.